During those 3 minutes and 58 seconds, there were 12 knockdowns, and of course the neutral corner rule didn't apply way back then.
It's a great part of boxing history, but probably the apex of New York boxing, the largest crowd ever to attend a fight. The bout drew 88,247, the fight of the century up until the next one. Two of the most dynamic boxers that ever lived, and one of the greatest events that the sport has ever had.
Well, it was the early 1920s, and maybe the biggest thing around was the heavyweight championship of the world. And Jack Dempsey was an absolute icon. And he was in against this very, almost like larger-than-life, Louis Firpo, he had Hollywood looks. The girls just swooned over him.
Firpo was a big, burly guy, came out of South America. He was full of charisma, tremendous brawling kind of a figure, all power, all sinew, not any science, but he would hit you like a lightning bolt.
What a remarkable fight. I mean, you know, everyone says, oh, 10 knockdowns. I like to look at it as 11 times they got up. They kept getting up. They kept getting up. And then until you could ask for no more, and then it didn't even matter who won. Both of them were champions for the rest of their life.
They were larger than life, and especially Jack Dempsey. And because boxing was so big, and Dempsey was so big and popular, and Louis Firpo was so big and popular, 88,000 people turned out in the arena that day. And from what I understand, that if the place could have held another 50,000 people, that's how many people were almost waiting outside trying to get in. There was nothing like it. And of course, the event itself turned into something so historical.
You know, Jack Dempsey and Babe Ruth were, you know, two peas in the same pod as the most famous and celebrated athletes of the 1920s, but still 100 years later, speaking of him, he's an absolute phenomenon. I think along with John L. Sullivan, Joe Louis, and Muhammad Ali, they just transcend everybody else in boxing. He set the tone for modern boxing, the most popular figure in terms of the live gate, and really one of the most historically important figures that ever existed in our sport.
No, this wasn't the largest purse in ring history, but the fight lasted only 3 minutes and 58 seconds. So the champ's wages were about $120,000 per minute.
Dempsey's cut was about $250,000, which was more than the payroll of 8 Major League Baseball teams, the entire team. So if you look at that today, when baseball teams are getting $120 million or $200 million, that sort of lets you see what kind of money Dempsey was making compared to all other sports at the time. Absolutely remarkable.
Dempsey went down twice, once completely out of the ring. But the champ came back to lay Louis low.
Everyone remembers Firpo knocking Dempsey out of the ring, and you know they say he got helped back up into the ring by the press. What is your historical take on that whole scenario?
When Dempsey went out of the ring, there are all kind of stories. I've read many different versions that he was actually cushioned, that he was prevented from falling out, that he did fall out, that he was held back in the ring. I'm not even sure what the true story is, so it's become larger than life.
Oh, but when it happened, there was pandemonium ringside, and no one could hear anything. And Firpo, in the excitement, Firpo's cornermen were trying to protest to Commissioner Muldoon, but they were doing it in Spanish, right? Because everything was just happening so fast. So there's a debate about did Dempsey get in the ring and assisted or not. Dempsey himself admitted he got a little boost.
The Firpo fight, where there was the controversy about whether or not you were helped back into the ring.
Well, I wouldn't know because I was knocked out of the ring, and as a matter of fact, I don't remember of ever getting back in the ring. They threw me back in the ring, but you can't, if the public wants to do something, you can't stop them. There's no law says that you can't help a man when he's down. And believe me, I was down, and if it wasn't for the public throwing me back in there, I would have never gotten back in the ring. Because about the time I got back in the ring, the bell rang, and they took me to my corner. And I asked my old manager, Mr. Kearns, what round was I knocked out in? And he says, you weren't knocked out, you just slipped. But I knew different. And if they hadn't thrown me back in the ring, naturally, I mean, I would have been knocked out. And it was unfortunate those things happen. But that's the break of the game, and you get good breaks and you get bad breaks. But that was one of the greatest breaks I ever got because Firpo, if the bell hadn't rang, would have certainly knocked me out. I was really out on my feet.
The centennial of the Dempsey Firpo was September 14th. We are having a celebration on November 1st for the official unveiling of a plaque marking it at the site, the former Polo Grounds Baseball Park. The WBC sponsored the plaque and are sponsoring the event along with New York City Housing Authority.
We've got a great event planned for you. We're very happy that you're here. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce the president of the WBC, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mauricio.
So we are all here to commemorate something that happened 100 years ago. So Bruce from Gleason's gym and Mendes gym, and it's all the community. I'm just very happy, very proud, very excited, and I'd like to thank every one of you from the bottom of my heart for coming here.
It's a bit more challenging. Again, it's the head, just get my feet out of the way, right? And then you get the side open, start to play around a little bit, you can flip it around.
This was the first fight that a Latino Hispanic gentleman fought for a world title. It opened the door for many, many, many others. And Mauricio is a Mexican and has a great affection for Latino and Mexican fighters. But it's also a thing just about equality and how a sport has evolved.
Any boxing gym is a safe haven. Boxing gyms are the last melting pots in New York City. There are people of all kinds in there. Just look around here. You have people from all levels, all walks of life, all types. You're the type of people that are in boxing gyms. The kids come in from the projects, the fellows and women come in from Wall Street. We have police officers, we have Palestinians, we have Israelis, we have men, women, we have children. Everybody in a boxing gym gets along, no problems, we have no fights. I've owned Gleason's gym for 42 years, and you can count on one hand the number of problems that we've had over there.
When Firpo fought, not only were there 140,000 fans waiting to see the fight here in New York, but in Mexico City, Guatemala City, Panama, Colombia, Peru, Paraguay, Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, there were hundreds of thousands of fans standing outside in front of the local newspapers waiting for reports of the fight. And in Buenos Aires, on top of the tallest building, the Palacio Marolo, if Firpo won, a blue light was going on. If Dempsey won, a red light was going on. So when news came that Firpo knocked Dempsey out of the ring, that light turned blue. And for about 40 seconds, all of Latin America was cheering for their first world champion. Then all of a sudden, the light turned red.
It's important that everybody's here today. It's a twofold event. One is that we have to honor our history. The foundation is built on that history. The second part of it is that we have to make history. We have to do it with the people who are living in this iconic land that the Polo Ground was built on, to have them know how important this place is, and to inspire them in their lives to go forward. That so many incredible heroes have come out of this period, that have come out of these buildings, that have come out of this area. It's just rich with that. So it's very important for us to be here.